Lily pressed her nose against the transparent wall and watched 3 suns set over mountains made of crystal. Purple, orange, and deep red painted the sky in colors she had never seen on Earth. She was 6 years old and very far from home. Her father walked past carrying another stack of papers. He always carried papers now. Back on Earth, he used to read her bedtime stories. Here on Draconith Prime, he barely had time to say goodnight. "Stay in this wing, Lily," he called over his shoulder. "Don't wander into the ceremonial halls. The Draconith take their traditions very seriously." Lily nodded, but her father was already gone, hurrying toward another meeting. She sat down on the smooth floor and pulled her knees to her chest. The palace was beautiful, but it was also lonely. Everything here was too big, too quiet, and too formal. The Draconith themselves were huge. They stood nearly 3 times as tall as her father, covered in scales that shimmered between blue and silver. Their faces were long and elegant, with eyes that glowed softly in the dim light. They moved slowly, spoke in deep rumbling voices, and bowed to each other constantly. Lily thought they looked like the dragons from her storybooks, except they wore robes and walked on 2 legs. Nobody here played. Nobody laughed. Everyone was always busy with important things. Lily opened her small backpack and found the box of colored chalk her grandmother had packed. "For when you get bored," the note inside said. Grandmother always understood. She looked at the bare wall of her guest quarters. It was made of some kind of living crystal that changed colors when people walked by. Right now it was a soft gray, matching her mood. Lily picked up a yellow chalk and drew a simple sun. Then a house with a triangle roof. Then stick figures of her father, and her grandmother holding hands. She added flowers at their feet, the kind that grew in grandmother's garden back home. The drawing made her feel a little better. She drew more over the next hour. A cat, even though they didn't have a cat. A tree with a swing. Her mother. The way she remembered her from old photographs, with long hair and a gentle smile. Around her mother's figure, Lily drew protective swirls, the kind that made her feel safe when she traced them with her finger before sleeping. A shadow fell across her drawings. Lily jumped and looked up. A young Draconith stood there, staring at the wall. He was smaller than the adults, maybe a teenager by their standards, but still twice Lily's height. His scales were lighter, almost silver-white, and his eyes were wide. "I'm sorry," Lily said quickly. "I didn't mean to make a mess. I can clean it." The young Draconith said nothing. He just kept staring at her drawings. His mouth opened slightly and a soft humming sound came from his throat. "Are you okay?" Lily asked. The Draconith suddenly seemed to remember she was there. He bowed, the formal gesture all the palace servants made. "This one is called Ash. This one serves in the guest quarters. I'm Lily. Are you mad about the drawings?" Ash tilted his head the way a confused puppy might. "Mad? No, this one is surprised." He reached toward the wall, then stopped himself. "Where did the small human learn these patterns?" "I just made them up," Lily said. "They're not real drawings. I'm not very good at art yet." Ash made a strange sound, almost like a cough. "Not good? These are—" He stopped, seeming to struggle with words. "This one must inform others. Please continue if the small human wishes." Before Lily could ask what he meant, Ash turned and walked away quickly, his claws clicking on the crystal floor. Lily looked back at her drawings. They were just stick figures and swirls. What was so interesting about them? She picked up a blue chalk and kept drawing. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. More Draconith walked past her corridor. They moved slowly, casually, as if they just happened to be passing by. But Lily noticed their glowing eyes always turned toward her drawings. Ash brought her more chalk. Different colors, better quality than her small box. He never explained why, just bowed and left them by her door each morning. Her father remained too busy to notice. He came back late each night, exhausted from negotiations and ceremonies. Lily didn't mention the drawings. They were her secret, her small piece of home in this vast alien palace. One evening, Lily was adding to her collection when she heard voices. She peeked around the corner and saw 3 elderly Draconiths standing in the hallway, speaking in low tones. "Impossible," one said in common tongue, the trade language her father had taught her. "The patterns are exact." "But she is a child," another replied. "A human child? How could she know the old words?" "Perhaps she does not know," the third said. "Perhaps that is precisely why she can write them." Lily didn't understand what they meant. She went back to her drawing, adding a rainbow over her stick figure family. She made the rainbow curve and swirl, adding little spirals at each end because they looked pretty. Behind her, through the doorway, one of the elderly Draconith made a choking sound. "By the first flame," he whispered. She just created a bridge rune without trying, without even knowing. That night, her father received a formal summons. The High Council wanted to meet with him urgently about a cultural matter involving his daughter. Ambassador Richard Hayes read the message 3 times, his stomach tightening with worry. What had Lily done? Had she somehow offended their hosts? Broken some rule he didn't know about? He walked to her quarters and found her asleep, chalk still in her hand, surrounded by drawings on every wall. For the first time, he really looked at them. The patterns were strange. Beautiful, but strange. They seemed to move in the corner of his eye, even though he knew they were just chalk on crystal. Some of them made him feel warm, others made him feel safe. One, the drawing of Lily's mother, made his chest ache with memory so vivid it was almost painful. These were not normal children's drawings. Richard sat down beside his sleeping daughter and wondered what tomorrow's council meeting would bring. Lily discovered the palace gardens by accident. She had followed a floating light, something like a firefly but made of pure crystal, through a doorway she thought led to the dining hall. Instead, she found herself standing in a paradise of alien plants. Trees with silver leaves hummed in a wind she couldn't feel. Flowers the size of her head opened and closed in slow rhythm, releasing sweet scents. A fountain made of liquid light poured upward instead of down, forming shapes in the air before dissolving into mist. "Wow," Lily whispered. She found a flat stone near the fountain and sat down. Her father was in another long meeting. She had her chalk. The stone looked perfect for drawing. Lily drew a simple flower, then added petals around it in a spiral pattern. She drew what she thought the wind might look like if it had a shape. All curves and flowing lines. She drew her mother again, because drawing her mother made the loneliness hurt less. This time she added special swirls around the figure, trying to remember exactly how her mother's arms felt during hugs. The chalk seemed to flow on its own, making patterns that felt right even though Lily didn't plan them. The child draws in the sacred garden. Lily almost fell off her stone. A Draconith elder stood behind her, so old that his scales had turned from blue to pale white. He leaned on a staff made of the same crystal as the palace walls. "I'm sorry," Lily said, jumping to her feet. "I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be here." The elder held up one clawed hand. "Peace, small one." This one did not say you should not be here. This one only observed what is. He moved closer, his large eyes studying her drawings. His eyes began to glow brighter, shifting from soft blue to brilliant gold. "Remarkable," he said, more to himself than to her. "The spiral of memory, the wind's path, and this is a protection seal from the age of first light." "They're just drawings," Lily said, confused. "Are they?" The elder knelt down, bringing his massive head level with hers. "Tell this one, child of Earth, do you dream in symbols?" Lily thought about it. "Sometimes. I dream about my mom, and sometimes I see swirly shapes that make me feel happy." The elder's eyes brightened even more. "What is your name, small artist?" "Lily Hayes. My dad is the ambassador. This one is called Council Elder Wren. This one has lived for 3,000 of your Earth years. This one has studied the old ways since before your species learned to write." He gestured at her drawings. "And this one has never seen anyone create true runes as easily as you breathe." "Runes?" Ash appeared from behind a silver tree. "Council Elder Wren, should the small human be told?" "She should," Wren said. "She deserves to understand what gift she carries." Wren sat down on the stone, moving slowly as if his ancient bones hurt. "Long ago, my people could write reality itself. We called it rune art. A properly drawn rune could preserve memory forever, could protect cities, could let minds speak across vast distances. But 50,000 years ago, we lost this ability. We tried to teach it, to study it, to force it. The more we tried, the less we could do." He pointed at Lily's drawing of her mother. "This is a memory preservation rune, the most difficult type. Masters spent lifetimes trying to create even weak versions. You drew it because you missed your mother." Lily looked at her chalk drawing. "But it's just chalk." "Touch it," Wren said. "Place your hand on the image and think of her." Lily reached out slowly and pressed her palm against the stick figure with swirly lines. Suddenly, warmth spread through her chest. She could almost smell her mother's perfume, almost hear her laugh. Tears filled her eyes, but they were happy tears. "It's real," she whispered. "Your human brain works differently than ours," Ren explained. "You create from emotion, pure and direct. We Draconith think too much, plan too much. We forgot how to let the runes flow naturally." Over the following weeks, Lily drew everywhere. The hallways, the fountain stones, the walls of empty chambers. Each time Draconith gathered to watch. They were always quiet, always respectful, but Lily could feel their amazement. Ash became her constant companion. He brought her food when she forgot to eat. He explained which areas of the palace she could explore, and slowly he became her friend. "Why do you serve guests if you're important enough to talk to council elders?" Lily asked one day. Ash's scales rippled with color. Something Lily had learned meant embarrassment. "All young ones of noble families must serve for a cycle of seasons. To learn humility, are you a noble?" "This one is the prince of the Western realm." Lily's eyes went wide. "You're a prince and you bring me snacks?" "This one is honored to bring snacks to the rune singer. I'm not a singer. I draw." "Rune singer is a title," Ash explained, "the old word for those who could create runes. There has not been a rune singer in living memory. Until you." More Draconith arrived at the palace each day, scholars, historians, politicians. Her father's meetings multiplied. Ambassador Hayes looked more tired each evening, but also confused. The Draconith treated him with even more respect than before, but he couldn't understand why. Then came the day everything changed. Lily was drawing in the Great Hall, a massive room where formal ceremonies happened. She had permission from Ash, who said the hall was empty today. She drew what she saw in her dreams the night before, a complex pattern of interlocking spirals and geometric shapes. Her hand moved almost on its own, the chalk dancing across the crystal floor. She finished and stepped back to look at her work. It was the biggest, most complicated drawing she had ever made. The floor began to glow. Lily stumbled backward as light spread through every line she had drawn. The rune pulsed once, twice, then released a wave of energy that made the whole palace hum. Alarms went off. Draconith guards rushed into the hall. Council Elder Rune appeared, moving faster than Lily thought possible for someone so old. He stared at the glowing rune on the floor, his eyes wide with shock. "Impossible," he breathed. "The child has activated a communication nexus, the kind that connected our ancient cities. The kind we thought were only myths." Ambassador Hayes burst into the hall, breathless. "Lily, are you hurt?" "I'm okay, Dad, I just drew a picture." Richard looked at the massive glowing pattern, at the assembled Draconith staring at his daughter with something like religious awe, and realized his life was about to become very complicated. "We need to talk," Council Elder Rune said quietly. "Your daughter has done something that will change the galaxy." The private chamber was smaller than most rooms in the palace, but somehow felt more important. Soft light came from the walls themselves. Council Elder Rune sat on a cushion designed for Draconith bodies. Ambassador Hayes sat on a chair someone had quickly brought for him. Lily sat on the floor, still holding her chalk. 3 other council members were present, each ancient enough that their scales had faded to pale colors. They kept glancing at Lily with expressions Richard couldn't read. Ambassador Hayes, Rune began. "This one must apologize. We have been observing your daughter without fully explaining why." "I'd appreciate an explanation now," Richard said, his hand protectively on Lily's shoulder. Rune gestured to the wall, where someone had carefully photographed Lily's drawings. "These are not simple art. Each one is a functional rune from our oldest civilization. Memory preservation, protection, growth, communication, powers we lost when our species became too focused on logic and structure." "I don't understand," Richard said. "Lily just draws. She's done it since she was 3. "Precisely," another council member said. "She does not try to draw runes. She simply draws. The difference is everything." Rune leaned forward. "Human minds process creativity and emotion differently than Draconith minds. Your species feels deeply and expresses directly. You create art from your heart without overthinking. For runes to work, they must be written with absolute emotional truth, while simultaneously understanding their symbolic meaning at a quantum level." "That sounds impossible," Richard said. "For us, it became impossible. We think too much. We analyze, we doubt. But your daughter draws her love for her mother, her loneliness, her hope. And the runes form naturally because human consciousness operates on both levels at once. Emotion and understanding, feeling and knowing. You are not separate from yourselves the way we are. Lily tugged her father's sleeve. Am I in trouble? No, small one, Ren said gently. You are precious. You have given us hope of recovering what we lost. How? Richard asked. What do you want from her? Only what she is willing to give, Ren said. We have young ones struggling to understand their heritage. Would Lily be willing to draw with them? To show them how she sees the world? You want her to teach Draconith children? Richard asked carefully. We want her to play with them. Teaching will happen naturally if it happens at all. Richard looked down at his daughter. Lily, what do you think? Lily brightened. Can I have friends here? Yes, Ren said. Many friends, then okay. 3 days later, Lily found herself in a large sunny room filled with young Draconith. They were smaller than adults, ranging from the size of tall humans to twice that height. Their scales were bright with youth colors, blues and greens and even some purples. They all stared at Lily. She stared back. Ash stepped forward. This is Lily. She will draw with us. A young female Draconith raised one clawed hand. But she is so small. How can she teach us anything? Watch, Ash said. He gave Lily colored chalk and pointed to an empty wall. Lily walked up to it, thought about what made her happy, and drew. A sun, a tree. Children playing underneath. She added swirls around them, protective and warm. The wall began to glow faintly. The Draconith children gasped. How did you do that? One asked. Lily shrugged. I just drew what I felt. You try. They tried. Most created beautiful pictures, but no runes. A few made patterns that flickered weakly. One, a small male with deep green scales, created a tiny light rune that glowed for 3 seconds before fading. He stared at his claws in shock. I did it. I actually did it. That's great, Lily said, grinning. More children arrived over the following weeks. The sessions became daily events. Lily taught them not with words, but with demonstration. She drew her feelings, her memories, her dreams. She showed them that art wasn't about being perfect. It was about being honest. Ash proved to be her best student. As a prince, he had been trained in formal rune theory his entire life. He knew what runes were supposed to do, but that knowledge had blocked his ability to create them. Lily helped him forget what he knew and just feel. His first successful rune was simple, a light symbol, but it glowed steady and bright, and Ash stared at it with wonder in his eyes. I never thought I could do this, he said softly. You were thinking too hard, Lily said. You gotta feel it. The teaching wing became Lily's favorite place in the palace. She wasn't lonely anymore. She had friends who looked like dragons and laughed at her jokes and drew pictures with her. Her father visited when he could. He watched his daughter, confident now, surrounded by alien children who saw her as special. She was teaching them, but they were teaching her too. She was learning about Draconith culture, their history, their way of seeing the world. Ambassador Richard Hayes realized his daughter was becoming something he had never imagined. Not just an ambassador's child, but a bridge between species. Then one evening, everything changed again. Lily was alone in the teaching wing, drawing a picture of Earth. She missed home sometimes. Missed grass and blue sky and the way rain smelled. She poured all that longing into her drawing, adding layers of detail, spirals of memory and connection. The rune grew larger than any she had made before. It covered most of the wall, intricate and glowing. When she finished the last line, the entire pattern blazed with light. Suddenly, she wasn't looking at her drawing anymore. She was looking through it. The wall had become a window, showing Earth in perfect detail. She could see continents, oceans, clouds moving in real time. If she focused on a spot, the image zoomed in, showing cities and forests and people going about their lives. By the first flame, a voice said behind her. Council Elder Wren stood in the doorway, his eyes wide with shock. Other council members crowded behind him. The child has created a true sight rune, one whispered. She can see across the galaxy. This was thought to be impossible. Even our ancestors never achieved this. Lily touched the image of Earth gently. I just wanted to see home. You did more than see, Wren said, his voice shaking. You created a window across light years. Do you understand what this means? Before Lily could answer, heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. A group of Draconith in dark ceremonial armor entered. Their scales were marked with symbols Lily didn't recognize. Their eyes glowed red. The leader stepped forward. This teaching wing is closed by order of the Stone Wing Council. The human child defiles our sacred heritage. She must leave Draconith Prime immediately. Ambassador Hayes arrived, breathless. You have no authority over human citizens. We have authority over this palace, over what happens in sacred spaces. This human makes a mockery of our ancestors. Ash moved to stand between them and Lily. The child has done nothing wrong. Step aside, Princeling. This does not concern you. It concerns all of us, Ash said. Lily has helped us remember what we forgot. The Stonewing leader's eyes blazed brighter. She has stolen what is not hers to take. Lily, frightened but determined, picked up her chalk. Her hands trembled, but she started drawing on the floor between the two groups. She drew connection, understanding the feeling of holding hands with friends, the warmth of being understood and understanding others. The rune spread across the floor, growing larger than any she had made. Light pulsed from every line, and then something happened that had never happened before. Everyone in the room suddenly felt what everyone else felt. The Stonewing leader felt Lily's fear and determination. Lily felt his anger and buried shame. Ash felt his love for his people and his new friend. Richard felt protective love for his daughter and respect for the Draconith. It was overwhelming. Raw. True. The Unity Rune, lost for 100,000 years, made lies impossible. General Cross of the Stonewing fell to his knees. His armored claws scraped against the crystal floor as he tried to process what he was feeling. Not just his own emotions anymore, but everyone's emotions, flowing through him like water through a broken dam. He felt Lily's loneliness when she first arrived, the ache of missing her mother, the simple joy she found in making friends, the pure love she had for the Draconith children she taught. He also felt his own warriors' doubts. They admired the human child's courage. They questioned whether protecting tradition was worth hurting an innocent. Most painful of all, Cross felt his own fear. He had been afraid that humanity would take the last sacred things his people had, afraid that accepting help meant admitting weakness, afraid of change itself. The Unity Rune showed him that his fear had made him cruel. Cross's voice cracked. I did not understand. Lily wiped tears from her eyes. The emotional flood was overwhelming for her, too. So much feeling from so many people. But she kept the rune active because she knew it was important. I didn't mean to steal anything, she said to Cross. I just wanted to draw. I just wanted friends. Cross looked at the small human child who had created something his people's greatest masters could not. She was 6 years old. She was alone on an alien world, and she had responded to his threats not with anger, but with a rune that forced understanding, wisdom that his 3 centuries of life had not taught him. The child teaches us shame, Cross said to his warriors. We claimed to protect our heritage, but we understood nothing of its true purpose. The runes were never meant to divide. They were meant to connect. He performed the gesture of highest respect in Draconith culture. He pressed his forehead to the ground before Lily. This one begs forgiveness. The other Stonewing members followed their leader's example. One by one they knelt. Lily let the rune fade. The emotional connection weakened, then disappeared. Everyone gasped as their minds became their own again. Council Elder Rune helped Lily stand. The child was shaking with exhaustion. Creating the Unity Rune had taken everything she had. That rune, Rune said softly, should not exist. It was theoretical even in our oldest texts. To make people feel each other's truth was considered impossible because it required perfect understanding of consciousness itself. I just wanted them to understand, Lily whispered. I didn't want anyone to be mad anymore. You did more than that, small one. You reminded us what the runes were for. Ambassador Hayes scooped Lily into his arms. She felt small and fragile against his chest. I think she needs rest. Of course, Rune said. But first there is something the council must offer. The elder gestured and 3 Draconith came forward carrying robes made of crystal fabric that shimmered with every color. Ancient symbols were woven into the material. These robes have not been worn in 50,000 years, Rune said. They belong to the title of Rune Singer. The last one who wore them was Council Mother Sira, who died before your species learned to farm. Lily Hayes of Earth, if you accept, we would name you Rune Singer and ask you to teach our people what we forgot. Richard looked down at his daughter. Lily, you don't have to accept. We can go home if you want. Lily thought about it. She thought about Earth and grandmother's garden, but she also thought about Ash and the other children, about how happy she was here despite everything. "Can I still draw whatever I want?" she asked. "Always," Ren said. "And I can still be friends with everyone? You honor us with your friendship." Then okay. The ceremony happened 3 days later. Representatives from dozens of alien species attended. The event was broadcast across the galaxy. Humanity's ambassador's daughter was becoming something that had not existed in living memory. Lily wore the crystal robes, which had somehow adjusted to fit her small frame. She stood in the Great Hall while Council, Elder Ren spoke in formal tones about history and honor and ancient traditions. Lily mostly thought about lunch and whether they would have the purple fruit she liked. When Ren asked her to speak, Lily walked to the center of the hall. Thousands of eyes watched her. She felt nervous but remembered what her father taught her about public speaking. "Just be honest. I'm just a kid who likes to draw," Lily said into the floating device that made her voice louder. "I don't really understand all the important stuff about runes and history, but I know that drawing makes me happy, and I know that making friends makes me happy. If I can help other people be happy too, then that's good." She paused, thinking. "My mom died when I was 4. I was really sad. Drawing helped. Drawing her helped me remember her love. That's what runes should do, I think. Help people remember good things. Help people connect. Help people understand each other." She looked directly at General Cross, who stood among the audience, even people who are scared or angry. "Everyone deserves understanding." The hall was silent. Then Ash began the traditional gesture of approval, tapping his claws together in rhythm. Others joined. Within seconds, thousands of beings from dozens of species were showing their approval in their own cultural ways. Ambassador Hayes wiped his eyes. His little girl was teaching the galaxy about compassion. After the ceremony, the real work began. Lily's idea of creating a teaching academy was approved. An entire section of the palace was converted into learning spaces. Human children began arriving from Earth and various colonies. Each one was tested for rune affinity. The results surprised everyone. About 1 in 50 human children could create weak runes. 1 in 500 could create strong ones. The human brain's structure made rune creation possible, but only some had enough of the right combination of emotional openness and intuitive understanding. What amazed the Draconith more was that their own children, taught with human methods, began succeeding too. The combination of human emotional directness and Draconith discipline created powerful results. The academy grew. Within months, 50 students filled its halls. Within a year, 200. Young humans and young Draconith learned together, played together, and created runes together. Lily remained the symbolic head, but she insisted real teaching be done by everyone. Ash became a formal instructor. Several human teachers arrived to help with education. Draconith scholars shared ancient knowledge. The communication rune Lily created was replicated by advanced students. It allowed instant messages across the galaxy. Ships could talk to homeworlds without delay. Families separated by light years could share words in real time. Protection runes were placed on human colony ships. The runes reduced dangers from cosmic radiation and spatial anomalies. Ship survival rates improved by 30%. Memory runes preserved dying languages. Cultural histories that would have been lost were captured forever in crystallized memory. And humanity's reputation across the galaxy changed. They were no longer just the new species trying to find their place. They were the species that helped ancient civilizations remember forgotten wisdom. One evening, Lily sat with Ash on a balcony overlooking the Crystal Mountains. The 3 suns were setting again, painting the sky in impossible colors. "Do you ever regret it?" Ash asked. "Becoming the rune singer? You could have just stayed a normal child," Lily thought about it. "I miss Earth sometimes. Miss my grandmother. But I like it here. I like having friends. I like helping people." "You did more than help people, Lily. You changed everything." "I just drew pictures." "You drew truth," Ash said. "That is why the runes work for you. You cannot draw anything but truth." Lily leaned against her friend, this prince who had become her first friend on an alien world. "Thanks for being nice to me. When I first got here, I thought nobody would like me. How could anyone not like you? You draw the universe better than it draws itself." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the suns disappear behind crystal peaks, while somewhere in the palace below, Children of two species learned to see the world through each other's eyes. 6 months after becoming Rune Singer, Lily discovered something that made her stop drawing mid-stroke. A small Draconith girl named Sarah had created a rune that made flowers grow faster. Not much faster, just a tiny bit. But the important part was that Sarah had done it without copying Lily's technique. She had found her own way. "Look," Sarah said excitedly, her green scales brightening with joy. "I thought about helping and the rune just appeared." Lily grinned. "That's amazing! You're getting really good." Other students gathered around, admiring Sarah's work. The academy had become a place of genuine friendship between species. Human children taught Draconith about emotions and spontaneity. Draconith children taught humans about patience and discipline. Together they created runes neither species could make alone. But not everyone was happy about this development. In the city beyond the palace, a movement was growing. The Stone Wing had officially disbanded after General Cross's public change of heart, but not all its members agreed with him. Some formed a new group called the Preservation Society. They held meetings in private homes and published documents about traditional values. Their message was simple. Humans were taking advantage of Draconith hospitality. The runes were sacred heritage, not toys for alien children. Real Draconith should be learning from Draconith masters, not from a 6-year-old human girl who got lucky. Ambassador Hayes saw the reports and worried. He increased security around Lily, though she barely noticed. She was too busy teaching and learning and making friends. One afternoon, Lily was helping a human boy named Peter create his first rune. Peter was 8 and very serious. He wanted to make a rune that helped people feel less scared. "Like when you go to the dentist," Peter explained. "Everyone is always scared at the dentist. A calm rune would help." "That's really nice," Lily said. "Try to remember a time you felt really calm. Like everything was going to be okay." Peter closed his eyes and drew. His hand moved slowly, carefully. A simple pattern emerged. 3 lines that curved around each other like a gentle hug. The rune flickered, weak but present. Peter's face lit up with success. "I did it. I actually did it." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the palace. Red lights flashed along the crystal walls. Ash rushed into the classroom. "Everyone stay calm. Move to the interior chambers." "What's happening?" Lily asked. "Protesters." They broke through the outer gates. Teachers quickly herded students deeper into the palace. Lily could hear shouting from outside. Angry voices demanding that humans leave Draconith Prime, that the academy be shut down, that tradition be respected. Ambassador Hayes found Lily in the sheltered chamber. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Dad. What do they want?" "They want things to go back to the way they were. Before humans came, before you started teaching." "But we're helping," Lily said, confused. "The runes are coming back." "Not everyone sees it that way, sweetheart." Through the thick crystal walls, they could hear the mob growing louder. Palace guards formed defensive lines. Council Elder Rune tried to negotiate, but the protesters refused to listen. "The human child defiles our heritage," someone shouted. "She learns what took our ancestors millennia." Another voice added, "Send her away. Send all humans away." General Cross appeared, no longer wearing Stonewing armor but simple robes. He had become an advocate for the academy after his experience with the Unity Rune. He walked out to face the crowd. "Brothers and sisters," he called. "This one once thought as you think. This one was wrong. The child brings back what we lost, not steals what we have." "Traitor," someone yelled. "You betray your ancestors." "This one honors them by accepting their gift wherever it comes from." The argument grew more heated. Lily watched through a window, her heart pounding. She hated that people were fighting because of her. Ash stood beside her. "It is not your fault, Lily. Change is always difficult for some people. Maybe I should leave. Maybe if I go away, everyone will stop being angry. If you leave, the runes leave with you. Is that what you want?" Lily thought about her students. About Sarah's joy at making flowers grow. About Peter's calm rune. About all the children, human and Draconith, learning to create together. "No," she said quietly. "I want to help." She grabbed her chalk and walked toward the main entrance. "Lily, wait." Her father called, but Lily was already pushing through the doors. Palace guards tried to stop her, but Ash ordered them to let her pass. The crowd fell silent when they saw the small human child walking toward them. She wore her crystal robes. Her chalk was clutched in one small hand. She looked very tiny and very alone, facing hundreds of angry Draconith. "Please don't be mad," Lily said, her voice shaking but clear. I didn't mean to cause problems. Go home, human. Someone shouted. This is becoming my home, Lily said. I have friends here. I'm learning so much. And I'm trying to help. Isn't that what runes are for? Helping people? She knelt down on the ground and began to draw. Her hand moved quickly, patterns flowing from memory and feeling. She drew what she felt from the crowd. Their anger, yes, but also their fear. Fear that change meant losing themselves. Fear that accepting human help meant they were weak. She drew understanding for that fear. She drew respect for their traditions. She drew hope that old and new could exist together. The rune spread across the courtyard ground. It glowed with soft blue light. Unlike the Unity rune, this one didn't force emotions onto people. Instead, it created space for reflection. It let people feel their anger without being consumed by it. The crowd shifted. Some lowered their signs. Others looked uncertain. An elderly Draconith stepped forward. She was old enough that her scales had turned almost transparent. Child, why do you help us when we shout at you? Because shouting is what scared people do, Lily said simply. My dad taught me that. When people are scared, they get loud. But that doesn't mean they're bad. It means they need someone to listen. And what do we fear, small wise one? You're scared that everything you love will disappear, that your history doesn't matter anymore, that humans will change everything until you don't recognize your own world. Lily looked up at the gathered crowd. But that's not what we want. We just want to be friends. We want to learn from you, and maybe sometimes teach you too, like friends do. The elderly Draconith knelt down, bringing herself level with Lily. This one is called Scholar Vess. This one has studied the old texts for 200 years. This one believed the runes were meant only for pure Draconith bloodlines. She touched Lily's rune gently. This one was wrong. The runes belong to anyone with the wisdom to use them well, and wisdom has no species. Scholar Vess stood and addressed the crowd. This child shows more understanding of our heritage than many who were born to it. She creates not for glory or power, but to help others. That is the true spirit of the first dragons. Perhaps we should learn from her example rather than resist it. Slowly, the anger drained from the crowd. Some left, still unconvinced, but many stayed. They asked questions. They watched Lily draw. They saw how the young students, both human and Draconith, worked together with joy rather than rivalry. By evening, the protest had turned into something else. A conversation, a beginning of understanding. Ambassador Hayes found his daughter sitting on the palace steps, exhausted. That was either very brave or very foolish. Dad says they're sometimes the same thing, Lily said with a small smile. Richard sat beside her. I'm proud of you, but also terrified. You're 6 years old. You shouldn't have to deal with angry mobs. But I did deal with it, and it worked. This time. But Lily, not everyone will be convinced. Some will always resist change. Then we keep trying. That's what you do at your job, right? Keep trying even when it's hard? Richard pulled his daughter close. When did you get so wise? I learned from the runes. They teach you stuff even when you're just drawing them. That night, Council Elder Rune called an emergency session. The academy had nearly been shut down by protest. Something had to change to ensure its survival and safety. We need a formal declaration, Rune said. The academy must be recognized as neutral ground, a place of learning beyond politics. And we need more security, General Cross added. Not to intimidate, but to protect the students. Ambassador Hayes stood. Earth is willing to provide additional resources. Teachers, supplies, whatever helps. Ash, now sitting on the junior council as a prince, spoke up. We should invite other species to send students. If this is truly about learning and sharing knowledge, it should be open to all. The council debated late into the night. By morning, they had reached a decision. The Rune Academy would become the first truly galactic school. Any species could send students. Any culture could share their methods. The focus would be on cooperation and shared growth. And Lily would remain its heart, the small human child who accidentally reminded ancient dragons how to dream. 1 year after Lily Hayes became Rune Singer, the Academy held its first formal graduation ceremony. 20 students, both human and Draconith, had mastered basic rune creation. They could make light runes, simple protection runes, and small communication runes. Nothing as powerful as Lily's work, but real functional runes nonetheless. Lily watched from the ceremonial platform as each student demonstrated their skills. Sarah, the young Draconith girl, made flowers bloom instantly. Peter created a calm rune strong enough to soothe a room full of people. Ash, who had become the Academy's lead instructor, created a complex memory preservation rune that captured an entire day's worth of experience. The ceremony was attended by representatives from 14 different alien species. The insectoid Chithrak sent scholars to study human teaching methods. The energy-based lumens wanted to learn if their children could create runes. Even the Greys, who rarely involved themselves in other species' affairs, sent an observation team. Everyone wanted to understand how humanity had helped unlock ancient Draconith power. After the ceremony, there was a celebration in the palace gardens, the same gardens where Lily had drawn her first outdoor runes. Music played, a combination of human and Draconith styles that somehow worked together. Food from a dozen worlds was served. Children of different species played games that required no shared language. Ambassador Hayes stood with Council Elder Rune, watching the scene. "A year ago, I was just trying to establish basic diplomatic relations," Richard said. "Now look at this. True cultural exchange." "Your daughter made it possible," Rune replied. "She showed us that wisdom comes from unexpected places, that traditions can grow rather than merely be preserved. She's still just a kid. Sometimes I worry we're putting too much pressure on her." Rune pointed to where Lily was playing with a group of children, human and alien, in a game that seemed to involve a lot of running and laughing. "Does she look pressured to you?" Richard smiled. "No, she looks happy. Because she is doing what she loves, creating, teaching, making friends. The fact that it changed the galaxy is almost secondary to her." Across the garden, Lily showed a new human student how to draw a basic light rune. The boy was nervous, his hand shaking. "Don't think about it too hard," Lily advised. "Just remember a time you felt really bright inside. Happy or excited or proud, draw that feeling." The boy tried. His first attempt produced nothing. His second made a tiny flicker. His third created a small but steady glow. "I did it," he shouted. Lily hugged him. "See? You just had to believe you could." As the celebration continued, Lily slipped away to her private quarters. Despite all the joy, she felt a familiar ache. She missed Earth, missed her grandmother, missed her mother most of all. She sat on the floor of her room and pulled out her special chalk, the one she used for important personal drawings. She drew her mother again like she had done so many times. But this time she added something new. She drew herself too, older and confident, showing her mother all the amazing things she had learned. She drew the academy, the friends she had made, the runes she had created. She drew it all in a complex spiral of memory and love and hope. When she finished, the rune glowed brighter than any she had made before. She placed her hand on the image of her mother and closed her eyes. Warmth flooded through her. Not just memory this time, but something deeper. For a moment, just a moment, she felt her mother's presence. Not really there, not truly alive again, but present in the way love is always present. In the way good memories protect us. In the way the people we love never really leave us. "I'm doing okay, Mom," Lily whispered. "I think you'd be proud." A soft knock on her door. Ash entered, carrying 2 cups of the sweet purple juice Lily loved. "The party is outside, you know," he said gently. "I know. I just needed a minute." Ash saw the new rune and his eyes widened. "Lily, this is extraordinary. The complexity, the emotional resonance. This is beyond anything you have created before. It's for my mom, to show her what I've been doing." Ash sat beside his friend. "She would be very proud, as we all are." "Do you think we're really changing things?" Lily asked. "Or are we just making people mad?" "Both," Ash said honestly. "Change always makes some people uncomfortable." "But look at what has happened. Runes are returning to the galaxy. Species are learning from each other. The Preservation Society still exists, but even they have stopped calling for the Academy to close. You did that, Lily. You and your human heart that feels so much." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. "I got a message from Earth today," Lily said. "Grandmother wants to visit. She's coming next month. That is wonderful. Yeah, I can't wait to show her everything. The palace, the academy, the runes." Lily smiled. "I want to show her I'm okay." That moving here was good, even though it was scary at first. Over the next month, more changes came. The communication runes Lily had developed were installed on major trade routes. Ships could now talk to each other instantly, making space travel safer. Pirates were easier to track. Rescue missions had higher success rates. Protection runes on colony ships became standard. Human expansion into dangerous regions of space became less deadly. Families felt safer sending their children to distant worlds. Memory runes preserved the last speakers of dying languages. Cultural knowledge that would have vanished was captured forever. Entire histories were saved. The galactic community recognized humanity's contribution formally. Earth was offered a seat on the Grand Council, the governing body that managed interspecies relations. Ambassador Hayes became Grand Ambassador, representing not just humanity but the ideals of cultural exchange and cooperation. And Lily kept drawing. She drew every day. Sometimes powerful runes that made scholars gasp, sometimes simple pictures of flowers because they made her happy. She taught anyone who wanted to learn. She played with her friends. She studied hard in her regular classes because her father insisted education was important. She was still just a kid who happened to change the galaxy. When her grandmother arrived, Lily showed her everything. The Crystal Palace, the Three Suns, the academy where hundreds of students now learned. Her grandmother cried happy tears and hugged her for a long time. "You've grown so much," grandmother said. "Not just bigger, wiser." "The runes teach you stuff," Lily explained, "about feelings and connections and truth. Every time I make one, I understand a little more." They walked through the gardens together. Lily pointed out where she had drawn her first outdoor runes, where she had created the communication rune, where she had faced down the angry mob with nothing but chalk and courage. "Are you happy here?" grandmother asked. Lily thought about it carefully. "I miss Earth sometimes. Miss our house and your garden. But yeah, I'm happy. I have friends. I'm helping people. And Dad is less stressed now that the diplomatic stuff is going better. Your mother would be so proud." "I know. I drew her a picture. Want to see?" They returned to Lily's quarters. Grandmother looked at the complex rune showing Lily's life on Draconith Prime, all spiraling around the image of her daughter. "It's beautiful," grandmother whispered. "It feels like love." "That's what all good runes feel like," Lily said. "The ones made from anger or fear don't work as well. Love makes the strongest runes." That evening, there was a special assembly. Students gathered in the Great Hall. Teachers and scholars lined the walls. Council Elder Rune stood at the center platform. 1 year ago, a human child arrived at this palace. She was lonely and bored. She drew on walls to pass the time. Those simple drawings changed everything. Rune gestured to Lily. "Today, we formally recognize the Rune Academy as an independent institution, a place of learning belonging to no single species or world, a place where any being can come to learn the old ways and create new ones." Applause filled the hall. Lily stood there feeling small and overwhelmed and proud all at once. The child who drew on walls became the teacher of worlds, Rune continued. She proved that the greatest wisdom often comes from the most unexpected places. That innocence sees truth that experience misses. That love is the foundation of all real power. Rune knelt before Lily, the highest honor. "Thank you, Rune Singer, for reminding us what we forgot." Lily looked out at the crowd. At Ash, her first friend. At her students, both human and alien. At her father and grandmother. At Council Elder Rune and General Cross and Scholar Vess. At everyone who had become part of her strange new life. "I just drew what I felt," Lily said simply. "Everyone can do that. You just have to be brave enough to be honest." She picked up chalk and began drawing on the Great Hall floor. This time, she invited everyone to join her. Students came forward. Teachers added their own lines. Even council members picked up chalk. Together, they created a rune unlike any before. It had no single purpose. It simply was a representation of cooperation, of different minds and hearts working together, of unity that respected diversity. When they finished, the rune glowed with light that filled the entire hall. It pulsed gently, a heartbeat of hope and possibility, and in that moment, everyone understood what Lily had known from the beginning. The universe's greatest magic had always been simple. It was connection. It was honesty. It was love freely given. It was a child's innocent heart drawing truth on walls, reminding ancient dragons how to dream.